For this video review, we're going to take a look at Warhammer 40k. This is the Dark Angels Assault Intercessor Sergeant. So this is an official licensed product of McFarlane Toys for the Warhammer 40k line. So let's examine the contents of our purchase. So right out of packaging, we have the Intercessor Sergeant figure. We have the pistol, the backpack, and the chain sword. We also have a standard McFarlane figure stand with the Warhammer 40k logo. So let's take a look at the accessories that is included with this action figure. So let's start with the backpack, which is the biggest hunk of plastic that is included with this action figure. So these are the details on the backpack, and we don't have any moving parts on this accessory. So this is the back part that attaches to the action figure, and we have a square peg. So that is a nicely done square peg. When you attach that to the back of the figure, this thing is not going to rotate. So let's take a look at the chain sword. So this is the details on the chain sword. So I'm really happy that the chainsword that I have on board with this figure is not warped. Straight out of box, it is nice and straight. And the last is going to be the pistol. So this is the details of the pistol. So let's put the figure on stand. Let's do a 360 view of the figure without any of the accessories attached to it. So this is how the figure looks with all of the accessories attached to it and on a action pose. So let us measure the figure. So as for height, this figure stands around just from the top of the head. It's going to be 7.5 inches, but on the top of the wings on the helmet, that's going to be 8 inches. For just a point of comparison for figures, just in case you are wondering how this scale goes, so we have a custom G.I. Joe Classified Series Bullseye figure and a DC Direct Page Punchers by McFarlane Superman. So this is also a kit bashed figure, but with regards to scaling, this is how it scales with the Warhammer 40k Intercessor Sergeant. And for final point of comparison, we have the Intercessor Sergeant with the two Ultramarine River figures that I have in my collection. So this is a standard version. This is already a kit bashed or a modified or customized version wherein I have a alternate head unit, and we have a helmet that could be placed on top of that head unit. So just for point of comparison. So final figure, we still have one figure to compare the Sergeant with. So for final point of comparison, we have the Blood Angel with the Assault Intercessor Sergeant. So striking difference, of course, is going to be the color of the armor, but generally the mold that was used for the armor is just one, including the rivers or ultramarine rivers that I showed earlier. Okay, so let's do a side profile between these two figures. So generally speaking, the armor is just the same, and the details, they share the same backpack, different weapon sets of course, but they are really awesome figures. And I got this figure and I really waited around this time to get this figure, so I was able to score this Intercessor Sergeant for $17 at Amazon. Okay, so we have the figure on hand, so we could really take a look at the details and the articulation points of the figure. So let's start with the head. So as for side to side movement, that is the range of motion. And for head tilts, the helmet actually is on a plate. So just like the other Warhammer figures that I have shown, the head unit would always have this plate for articulation. So that's going to be 4 head tilts. So that is match head tilts for looking up. This is match head tilts for looking down. So let's move towards the body of the figure. So for articulation points on the body, actually we have 2 points, a ball system on the diaphragm area and the ball system for the waistline. So moving towards the arm section of the figure. So we have full 360 motion even if we have a full backpack. That is possible. So sideways motion on a T-pose, that is also possible, but of course this section of the shoulder armor is going to tilt the head side on a sideways motion when you have the figure raising the entire arm this way. So we also have a bicep cut for articulation of the bicep. 2 points of articulation for the elbow, and that is the detail on the forearm guard, and that is the detail on the shoulder guard or the ball of the shoulder guard. And this is the detail on the chest. And on the other arm, the right arm. And we don't have any deco or any paint or any markings on the right forearm. So finally, for the hand area, we have a hinge. So there you see it, that's a hinge. And we have full rotation of the hands. So the right hand is going to be a trigger hand. The left hand is going to be a sword wielding hand or a C-cup hand. So let's move towards the leg area. So this is the details on the leg area. So that's the markings on the knee, and that is the last thing that we have as for details. So the rest of the things that you see on the armor actually are just the same between the 3 Warhammer figures that I already showed. So for the leg, 2 points of articulation for the knee, and just like your DC Universe figures, we have a little bit of thigh rotation. We have this much of range of motion for the leg moving forwards, this much of moving backwards, and if you're interested in butt kicks, so that is possible. And last of all, we have the articulation for the foot. And because of how the foot is designed, the armor around it, we have a little bit of hindrance because of that. And this is the point of articulation, the feet, which you have to warm up a little bit out of the box. But with regards to the entire figure, they are already good to go. Okay for play and display and action or toy photography. So that is the details on the Intercessor Sergeant. So especially loving the details on the helmet. And the last detail that I would want to point out with regards to the articulation points of this figure, these two would share the same articulation points based on the general design of how they look. But with regards to the Ultramarine Reavers, this figure, it's going to be different. We're going to have one more articulation point, which these two figures won't have. Based on the design of the foot of these two figures, they won't have toe articulation. But with the Reavers, they're going to have that extra point of articulation. So this is sold for 17. Don't go for this guy at Amazon because this is really pricey right now at about 37 plus. So including tax, that's going to be around 40 bucks. But with regards to this figure, it's going to be 17. And for the Ultramarine Reverse, this is going to be around 15 bucks. So last time I checked about 1 day ago. So this just arrived at my doorstep today, this afternoon. So if you like this video, please do like, comment, and subscribe to help me grow my channel. And see you on the next action figure review.